It got reset. I guess because it was unplugged.
What's wrong?
No, the sound wouldn't work.
Okay.
We put the mic line in.
Yeah.
And it needs to be on. The number one, that's the one we're plugged in. How? That's already, that's correct. But use Evo. So Evo number one is in. That's what we know for this. Correct. And it looks good.
Good.
And it looks like we're, hello! Might be a little too loud, but we'll see.
Should I, you know what, should I log into my phone just to hear the sound a little?
That doesn't seem to work. I mean, it doesn't seem to really indicate that it would sound fine to you and the people complain.
Oh, yeah, that's one. You can do very well. Although, yeah.
So I'm sure people will respond. But if not, this is the case.
All right, yeah, I did just want to make sure.
We make a noise. Hello.
Tahu kan?
Yes.
You like projector? It's a little high off, so.
Did you send those?
Yes.
You can get rid of this microphone.
I tried that already.
Can I turn up the sound on here? Oh, yeah. I see.
No. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Hi,
Hi, Lois. Hi, Benny. Hi, Barbara.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, everyone.
Okay, I think I got it.
Hi, Barbara.
Hi.
Barbara
Right.
Gilbert. Hi.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure this out. I'm not very good with all of this.
In a thing from us,
Right.
but not a long one. It was very short.
So I'm not. Help me with it.
What do you need?
I can't get it in.
What is in?
Wait, no.
Tell me what you're doing.
Barbara, you're in.
You're okay, Barbara.
We see you.
We can
Oh,
hear.
okay. You see half your face. You
Right.
got to raise the screen.
Yeah.
Or down the screen, whichever.
I'm incognito tonight. I'm just
How are
trying.
you? Is everything okay?
Yeah, I just incognito. Yeah.
I don't know. Okay.
Is that Barbara?
I'm having
I can't get on
problems.
either.
Oh,
It must be putting his garbage out. 'cause I can hear it.
I put it out also.
Okay.
You heard him.
I just heard the garbage.
I don't know.
What did you say now?
I don't remember. I just.
The thing that always comes there, I can't get it.
Hi, Barbara. I can, are we on or are we not on? I don't know.
I don't know.
We're on.
I'm having a
You're
I
on?
hear
problem.
all of you. It's
I
fine.
can't get-
You're on and we can see and hear you.
Thank you,
Okay.
Mira.
Linda, this is Barbara Sarfati. Hi.
Yes. Hi.
I don't know if I ever thanked you for that suggestion you gave me about missing funds.
About missing funds? What? I don't remember what I did.
Oh, you saw a notice in the paper that there was limited,
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
we got one of the two. We couldn't get the second one.
All right, whatever. I'm glad you got whatever you got. Good.
Thank you. How's Bill?
Good. Doing his thing, you
Okay.
know. All right, so we're all on except they haven't started yet, correct?
Correct.
Right.
Oh, all right. Just want to make sure I'm in the right spot.
Have any of you done this on YouTube? Have you watched services on YouTube?
A
I
long
have.
time
I
ago,
like
Jill, we
YouTube
did it.
better.
You
No,
like
I
this
always-
better? Which,
Yeah.
I like YouTube better, yeah.
you like YouTube better?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Zoom
What's
better.
better?
I guess I'm not very social. Maybe that's why I like it better.
Oh, I just wondered if the sound was better.
The sound, it's the same on both, I think.
Right.
Yeah. Mhm.
Isn't YouTube though with only one camera going in one
Yeah,
direction?
well, you don't usually see the,
Yeah,
like,
go and just go find something to watch to
Sure.
attract your interest.
I am.
You're okay, Lori. You're scared because things are good and you get scared, Laura. I'm sorry, but you find, if you search enough, you're gonna find stuff everywhere.
I know, but I'm saying the things that I found that they're really there. You know what I mean? This is not like
I understand. Yes, I
there's
understand.
this small hard lump in my rectum.
It's nothing.
That's nothing, right? You're not just saying that?
I'm not just saying that. It's absolutely nothing.
Okay.
It's parts of our body, Laura.
So
Things
like
come
rectal
and
cancer or anything that's happening?
no, it's not rectal
Oh,
cancer.
this is not a
Okay.
discussion to
Definitely
be
not.
having here.
Okay.
Thank you,
This
Jill.
is too personal.
Definitely not.
Okay, then I'm gonna not touch it.
Right, we're doing a sound check.
That's right. I wish you
Sound
would.
check.
I'm gonna go pee. And
Karen, can you hear me on the sound check?
Thanks for
Okay.
sharing.
Remember,
Very good. Now,
everybody
call
who's
me.
on
If I
can
call you, I
hear
may
what
need
you
a
say.
little bit,
Yeah, at this point, I don't think I'll be talking to anybody else unless I talk to your aunt. But other than that, nobody else.
All right. Love
Alana,
you.
do you
Love you.
realize
All
we're
right.
all hearing
here.
what you're saying?
Okay, thank you.
You're good. You're fine. You're healthy.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
What were you discussing and somebody said you shouldn't be discussing?
How do I make sure I'm not on camera?
Okay.
You're not.
Not?
They could hear.
Oh, they can hear me?
Everybody can hear everything that anyone is saying,
Yes.
Correct.
including the last phone call that was,
Not too terrific.
A little bit of too much information.
Mhm.
Yes. Thank you, Neil.
Yeah.
well said.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom to you, Neil. Neil,
Thank you.
that was Neil Fitter.
That's me.
Oh, and there's Arnie Landy. Hi, Arnie Landy. Yeah. Mhm.
I'm back.
Back.
We're glad you're back.
Not yet.
Okay.
Hey,
I was
on.
Oh, that's right.
Hey, Neil.
Hey.
Yeah, I was on the last Zoom of Rock Shabbat.
Oh, I wasn't.
And I think tonight's program will be interesting too.
Yes.
We don't want to be on the video.
Sorry.
Phone's ringing.
Yeah, I think we can't see each other, all of us, because the thoughts for Anne are running.
Yeah,
Oh, that's what it is. Okay.
nice to read
Right.
these things.
So we can only see one person at a time, and it's the person that's speaking, I think.
No, you can
New gallery.
see a lot of the people. If you put it on gallery view.
And then
Well,
you
I'm
can-
on my
You can stretch it too.
Oh, well, maybe you
letting
can't do
me.
it on that.
And then you could stretch it so you can get
Right.
3 columns or whatever.
Right.
No, but all I see is the background and then one person at a time.
Well,
Right.
maybe, I don't know what happens
Linda.
with the iPad.
Look for the word view on your screen near somewhere probably above that one person, probably near the top of the screen, and click on that and change it to side-by-side gallery.
Well,
It's
I
not
don't,
like,
I don't have that on mine.
You don't see the word view anywhere on the screen?
No. No. I hit more, I don't see it either.
Well, there's a gallery here somewhere.
Yeah.
Should be along the top somewhere, or maybe along the side, or somewhere along the bottom.
Whatever you want.
usually it's here. It's not now.
Oh, now I put share content and I can't do anything.
And take that away.
I know, I can't, I may have to log off and log in again. I don't know.
Can I see this from the?
Jeez.
Jill,
It
it looks
really
like
would
your
be nice at one
camera is
point.
pointing down to the floor.
Yeah, I think so.
I see a rug.
Yeah,
Okay, how about now?
that's better, Jill.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we see you.
Okay, I'll smile. Oh,
It would be nice if we, at one point, could get to see who's in the temple during services or during a Zoom meeting.
Well, not everything is possible.
Yes, I realize that.
True.
yeah, I can only see one person at a time.
Mm.
That's it, and it's making me very frustrated. But right now it's Linda Feldstein, so it's not bad.
Oh, and I'm seeing you, Jill.
Okay.
All right. We have a relationship.
Jill.
Yeah.
It's not right.
Well, I'll be at the temple in person on Sunday. I'm very excited.
I'd say we won't.
Mm.
Oh, and I'm seeing you, Jill. Okay. All right. We have a relationship. Jill.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be at the temple in person on Sunday. I'm very excited.
Where is everybody?
About services.
Here.
Yeah.
I think there's probably a lot of people in the temple tonight.
I think so.
Sure there are. Does anything ever start on time?
No.
Never.
Yeah, it's very weird. Hi, Lois. It's very weird to me because I don't drive at night
Where
anymore.
is everybody?
So I don't ever get to go to services at night.
Yeah.
We drive, but it's just not convenient for us.
I know it's easier.
They're too late.
It's very weird. I know. It's very weird to me because I don't drive. So I don't ever get to go.
Testing internal audio.
But it's just not convenient.
You passed the test.
Yeah, it's easier. That's the way.
Testing internal audio.
The audio is terrible now.
All echoey.
Yeah.
Between us, we're all fine. I think it's a problem in the building.
That's Westbury that's not coming across very well. Not a bad echo.
The audio is terrible now.
Yeah, that's coming.
Yeah.
Between us, we're all fine. I think it's a problem in the building.
Sorry, that's not
It's from the temple.
Just, you have to mute, tell them to shut up or mute. Not you. But you have to mute everyone.
Know what to do.
Now I see somebody's engagement ring. One of you is facing your jacket.
I'll mute it soon.
Camille, paging Camille. Oh, there we are. Okay, great. I think we're ready.
I don't know if I'm supposed to do this yet. Shabbat Shalom. My name is Camille Bloomberg, and on behalf of Congregation Beth Chaim, it is an honor to welcome you here tonight to this service as we Zoom from the sanctuary. I have some important information to share. As a reminder, you are part of our security team. Please keep your eyes open in case of an emergency. Please be aware that there are exits in all directions out of the sanctuary, including a door on the bima, which leads to the library. If you wear a hearing aid with a T-coil setting, you may access our hearing loop using your program. We do have headphones for those without the program. Large print prayer books are available as well. These are located on the table at the entrance to the sanctuary. We want to create a sacred space that will inspire prayer. Please silence or turn off your phones at this time so that you will not be distracted. We ask that only Cheryl Brown, our designated photographer, take photos during this service. While we enjoy seeing your faces, if you are not vaccinated and boosted against the COVID-19 virus, please, please, please wear your mask the entire time you are in the building unless you are eating. If you are on Zoom, we kindly ask that you stay muted unless the clergy invite you to unmute and participate. We may be physically separated from one another, but we are one community in prayer and celebration. We are so pleased to welcome our artist in residence, Anak Piven, and to honor Anne Berman Waldorf for her boundless care and devotion to nurturing our Beth Chaim community, including children and adults. with love and intention for more than 20 years and counting. We are blessed to have Ann as our lifelong Director of Lifelong Education at Beth Hayim. We are also celebrating those that joined Beth Hayim in the 90s as part of our year-long 50th anniversary celebration. Before we begin our prayer, I want to give you a little bit more information about myself and my Jewish journey. As most of you know, I converted after my husband passed away. But part of what keeps me at Beth Hayim is all of you and our community. You know, we've been here for 50 years, and I hope that we can continue to stay here for another 50 years. Beth Hayim is more than a building. It's more than a place. It's our spiritual house, and it's our connection to Judaism. You know, we raised our children Jewish because it's not out there everywhere. And unless you make a conscious effort to say, this is what we're doing, it can get lost. And I'd hate for that to happen. So we're hoping that Beth Hayim stays as our Jewish house of learning and life and our spiritual place and our community for another 50 years. Please join me in making that happen. Shabbat Shalom. We're going to begin our service.
Shabbat Shalom. We're going to start on page 24 in our prayer books or up on the screen if you'd like to go hands-free.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hashem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hashem. Melech Malchei Hamlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Orchem Lishalom, Malachei Hashalom. Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Hayom. Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Malchuni Lishalom, Malachei Hashalom. Malchuni Lishalom, Malachei Malchei Hamlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Seichem Lishalom, Malchei Hashalom. Seichem Lishalom, Malchei Elyon. Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Welcome to everyone who is with us tonight on Zoom and YouTube, as well as in our sanctuary, which is full. This Shabbat, we celebrate our members who joined Congregation Beth Hayim in the 1990s. Hence, half of my Canadian tuxedo and a plaid kippah and Cantor's fantastic hat. You will hear from several of the members from our 90s or who joined us in the 1990s throughout our service tonight. All of the liturgy will be projected on the screen, but if you'd like to follow along in the prayer book, you are out of luck. And the page numbers can be found at the top right corner of the screen. Do you know that we have no visual? Yeah, okay, that's all right. We have a prayer book. We're also, please keep your ears open for liturgy set to 90s music, including our opening song, if you caught it. And this weekend, we also have the pleasure of celebrating Anne Berman Waldorf. Who has served as the Director of Lifelong Education at Congregation Beth Hayim for 24 years. Anne's leadership has enabled our community to actualize its commitment to Torah in its many forms. We are blessed to learn from and with Anne, who has done so much for our congregation throughout her tenure. It is now my pleasure to invite up to the bima Anne and her family to lead us in candle lighting and Kiddush. We will begin with an English reading from Anne and Josh's daughter, Lily, who is zooming in from Israel this evening. But everyone in the front row, come on up. And can we see Lils? One moment, please. If you'd like to follow in your prayer book, We're headed to pages 2, then 5.
I just want to acknowledge it's 2 in the morning where she is.
It's almost 3. It's almost 3.
Can we get a spotlight? All right, she's the second lovely.
Hi. Mom, I'm so proud of you. And it's so great to see all of you over there. And I wish I could be there. And I love you so much. And what an honor to be here and an honor to celebrate with all of you. With that, I will read my part. Light is sown by the righteous, tucked into cracks in the sidewalk, dropped in the grass, breathed into the air, left waiting for others to find. You who are upright in heart, let your deeds declare your love. Let your hands be a source of healing. Let your joy be a fountain of blessing. Rejoice in righteousness and spread holiness throughout your days. Light is sown for you to magnify in service to God's holy name. I love you so much. I love all of you. I wish I could be there. And thank you all for being there instead of me and celebrating such a wonderful woman.
Oh.
No, I have to follow. I didn't prepare a speech. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu v'chalek ne'er shel Shabbat.
Amen. We're thanking Karen Berman and Sister for helping us bring in our Sabbath light. And now it's my pleasure to invite Beth and Rabbi Frank Waldorf to lead us in Kiddush on page 5. If you are able, I invite you to please rise.
Singing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratza banu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava u'ratzon yimkilanu zikaron l'maaseh bereishit ki hu yom tevilah L'mikroei kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'charta v'yotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shavat kodeshecha v'ahava u'braso Inchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh Hashabbat. It's the first time I ever saw one read some work. Lovely, thank you.
Everybody gets one. No, it's wine tonight.
L'chaim.
L'chaim.
We love you, Ann.
No, it's right.
Usually it's white grape juice. You're welcome to take a seat as we're now going to hear a reading from Sam, Steph, and Josh.
There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share.
There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation.
There are days when we act as if we care nothing for the rights of others. On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal. So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace.
I want to thank you all for helping us welcome in Shabbat and to honor your very beloved Anne. Before you leave, I get the rabbinic prerogative of just one little piece of gratitude. Nope. In Pirkei Avot, the ethics of our fathers, we're taught to acquire for ourselves a teacher so that we make for ourselves a friend. And it is my pleasure to say that Anne is both my teacher and my friend. And I know I'm not the only one in this room, in the Zoom room, or in our congregation who can say the same. We have lots of tissue boxes. Okay. All right, you may all be seated, but you'll be back up before you know it. We're going to continue with our service, Lecha Dodi, pages 20 and 21 in your prayer book, as we're so grateful that our beloved Shabbat has arrived.
Lecha Dodi, לקראת קנה, ונשבע לקבלה. Lecha Dodi, לקראת קנה, ונשבע לקבלה. שמור וזכור ודיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, בשם ותפארת ולתהילה. Lecha Dodi, לקראת קנה, ונשבע לקבלה. Lecha Dodi, לקראת קנה, ונשבע לקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. Lecha Dodi, לקראת קלה, ונשבע לקבלה. Lecha Dodi, לקראת קלה, ונשבע לקבלה. אורי שיר דברי כבוד אדוני אלייך נגלה. Lecha Dodi, לקראת קלה, ונשבע לקבלה. Lecha Dodi, לקראת קלה, ונשבע לקבלה. בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה, קם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. Lecha Dodi, לקראת קלה, ונשבע לקבלה. Lecha Dodi, לקראת קלה, ונשבע
I invite you to turn to your neighbors, both in physical space and in our virtual room. Greet each other, Shabbat Shalom. Introduce yourself to someone new.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat
Shabbat
Shalom.
Shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom all.
Shabbat Shalom.
Love it. I love it. All right, we're going to bring everyone back to prayer, knowing full well that we're going to have time later to be together again. And I'll ask all who are able to stay standing as we continue with Baruch Hu on page 28.
Adonai HaMevorach. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Shevi paro mari baravi, mari baravi. You call the world into being and spread all the stars in the heavens above. You made the morning and evening, surrounding us daily with signs of your love. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Shevi paro mari baravi, mari baravi.
We now have a reading that we'll hear from Neil Fetter on Zoom.
Teach me the Torah that God taught only to you, and I will teach you the Torah that God taught
Are you
only
muted,
to me.
Neil?
Yes?
No, sorry. Now we can hear you.
Okay, should I start again?
Yes, please.
Okay. Teach me the Torah that God taught only to you, and I will teach you the Torah that God taught only to me. For certainly God taught you secrets in order for you to teach me, and God taught me secrets in order for me to teach you, so that our hearts would cleave to each other's through God's holy word.
Thank you, Neil.
Thank you.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam, Leolam Vaed.
You may be seated.
Ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. לה לה יה לה 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 יה לה 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 והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך. לה לה יה לה 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 ולכתך בדרך ושוכבך וקומך וקשרתם נאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך, על מזוזות ביתך עליך. לה לה יה לה 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 למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
It is now my pleasure to invite up Joyce Kalstein and Minnie Shedler to offer a reading. And if you could please spotlight Jerry Kalstein, who is with us on Zoom tonight.
Every journey of liberation crosses the sea, pursued by a vicious past, surrounded by fragile miracles, on a steady march to an unknown destination. Every journey of liberation begins at midnight, in the darkest hour of oppression, with the blood of a sacrifice, with secret signs and anxious anticipation. And while I have the floor, I just want to offer my congratulations to Anne, and I wish you every happiness and success in all your future endeavors.
Let us sing a song of salvation, a song of absolution, benevolence, and compassion, of deliverance, freedom, and emancipation, of power, rescue, and release, of pardon, restoration, and reprieve, of the might and the mercy of our Maker, of God's generosity and grace. Let every journey of liberation end on the opposite shore, exhausted but jubilant, on the edge of an undiscovered land, with shouts of joy and delight when our struggle leads to redemption.
Thank you all. We're going to continue in our prayer books on page 40, but Cantor has a word before we sing.
My little rhyme. In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue, and Ferdinand and Isabella exiled every Spanish Jew. This melody for Mi Chamocha dates back to, I guess it would have been 1992. It was written in 1992, commemorating the 20th anniversary of Congregation Beth Chaim. And because it was also the 500th anniversary of the expulsion from Spain, it's based on a Ladino folk song called O Que Mueve Meses.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל עוד היא לעולם, עוד היא לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים, את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Now my pleasure to invite up Michelle Case to offer a reading from the top of page 43.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions and to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will.
Thank you, Michelle. I'll now ask all who are able to please rise for the Amidah, which begins on page 46.
יגיד תהילתך, ויגיד תהילתך. נה 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 אדוני, נה 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 שפתי תהילה, נה 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 ויגיד תהילתך. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואמהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך חוזר, מושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
I now invite Ann Gordon to the microphone to offer a reading as I ask everyone else to please be seated. And after Ann, we'll hear from Cheryl on Zoom. Cheryl Wexler will be sharing the second half of the reading.
Teachers of Israel, keep your Torah humble and your hearts pure. Keep joy before your eyes and gratitude before your heart. Know this day that your wisdom is a gift from heaven. Your knowledge is a tribute to your Maker. Then your teaching will become an offering of service to the God of our people. Mazel tov.
Cheryl, you are on mute.
Yes, sorry about that. Teachers of Israel, keep your Torah pure and your hearts humble. Keep righteousness before your eyes and understanding before your heart. Teach in the fullness of joy, to praise, not to be praised, to bless, not to be blessed, to glorify, not to be glorified, to extol, not to be extolled, to sanctify, not to be sanctified, so that your wisdom blesses the world, blesses the nations, and blesses the people Israel.
Thank you, Ann. Thank you, Cheryl. We'll turn to page 60 for Shalom Rav, our prayer for peace that we are very much hoping for this month especially. Sending our prayers for peace near and far.
Shalom Rav, Am Yisrael Amcha, Hasim Me'olam. Shalom Rav, Am Yisrael Amcha, Hasim Me'olam. Ki ata hu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha, Hasim Me'olam. Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha, Hasim Me'olam. Tov beinecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha, Hasim Me'olam. Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha, Hasim Me'olam. Baruch atah Adonai, המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, חסיד העולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, חסיד העולם. חסיד העולם. חסיד
Take a few moments for silent prayer to offer up our own hopes and dreams for our families, our communities, our world. Also to find inspiration from the words of our prayer book, and we'll come back together in just a moment.
רצון אמרתי בגיון ליבי לפניך אדוני צורי אדוני צורי וגואלי וגואלי
Our thoughts now turn to all those in need of healing. There are many names on the screen. I don't know if we can maybe move the faces to see them all. But if you would like to add a name of someone you know who is in need of healing, healing of the body, healing of the mind, healing of the heart, or healing of the soul, I invite you to do so now. Ellen. Betsy.
Zahava Bat Rivka.
For all those and many more across our globe who are suffering, we turn to this prayer for healing, a prayer composed in 1989, but took off in the 90s and familiar to many of us.
May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing and let us say bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
I'll now invite the member of our community of honor, Anne Berman Waldorf, up to the bima to introduce our guest of honor.
Sometimes we read the prayers in the prayer book and we wonder what inspired our rabbis, our sages, our ancestors to write those words. But as I sit here today and from this angle looking out at all of you and think of the prayer, how good and how wonderful it is to be together, I can't help but say how good and how wonderful it is to be together. I don't know about all of you, but for me, the last 18, 20 months, 2,000 years have been rough. And it is such a pleasure to be back together in person. There's a story our rabbis tell that when God went to give the Torah to the peoples of the world, God went to other ancient peoples and offered them the Torah, and they said no. And God went to the Jews and offered them the Torah, and they said, sure. And God said, wait a minute, what are you going to give me as your guarantor? This is my most precious gift, my most special thing. And they went back and forth, and there was negotiation. You could read the story. But the final answer was, our ancestors said, our children. We will give our children as our guarantors. We often stop there. The reality is, we are the children and the adults and the teens and the in-betweens and those souls who weren't there yet but are coming along. We are those guarantors. And throughout Jewish history, we have had to look inside ourselves and find that piece of our identity, of our commitment that made the struggle, the commitment, the responsibility worth living. That bit of the divine spark that forms the essence of not only our personal identities, but our collective power as a people. I am so honored to have been with you over the last, let's just call it years. For those of you who know me, I always remember you the age you were when we first met, and I'm hoping you see me that way too. But during our time together, we have looked to find that piece of our identity that helps us not only carry the path of our ancestors, but gives us the vision and the courage to move forward. So I am so honored today to introduce our artist in residence for the weekend, Hanoch Piven, who will help us through his artistic gifts to pull those core pieces of our identity, which will move us as a community forward, not for the next 50 years, but even well beyond that, because we are a people in whom eternity endures. So it is my pleasure to invite Hanoch Piven to join us and to share his insights into who our ancestors are and who we can become.
I need the mic. Yeah. First of all, thank you so much for having me here, be a part of this wonderful evening. And it's a huge honor for me to be here, invited by Anne as well, and to celebrate the teachings of Anne. So I'm going to share some of my work and give you, first of all, a little window into what we are going to be doing in the next 2 days. So basically, I like to start with the picture of Esther, and we are in the week of Purim, and Esther, this Esther is a part of a book that will come out in the winter next year, published by Macmillan here in United States and distributed by PJ Library. So it will arrive throughout America to the different kids. But I want to take the opportunity that we are in Purim this week to talk about the power of play, because I am paid to play. My job is to play. And there is a combination between art and play and education. Those are all protected spaces that allow us to do something that is so difficult to do. But I think, and it goes along with Anne's teachings, it allows us to think for ourselves, to be critical, to be in a space that gives us that protection. So in this weekend, we are going to do it with objects. We are going to use objects, and I know you have gathered many, many, many objects. And I've been doing it for over 30 years, and I can tell you that it is a lot of fun. I've been creating pictures of famous people, from Moses to Steve Jobs. They both brought tablets. And from Stephen Hawking to Homer Simpson. And of course, leaders of Israel, from David Ben-Gurion to Golda Meir, of course. Now, there is communication in the objects, and we are going to be communicating without words, because you see that the objects communicate. I'm sure that the piece of bologna and bananas that I've used to depict Donald Trump communicates something to you. So what's interesting is that the objects communicate in different ways. There are objects that are very clear why they are there, like the eyes of Obama using the American flags. But there are objects like the nose of Obama that invite us to think, to decipher. They make us think for ourselves. And this is the beauty of art. Whether we are creating art or viewing art, we are in a protected space, a space in which we can dig inside and think for ourselves. Art is a game, and we play in order to practice for life, to grow. So when we play, we are more creative. When we play with other people, even if we don't know them, we become their friends. Children that don't know each other, soccer players that might not get along outside of the field, or basketball or baseball players, in the field, they are friends. So I want to share with you a little bit of my work in Israel, bringing together Jews and Arabs, Palestinians and Israelis. This is part of what I want to share in this short talk. Because over the years, many people have been playing with me, from children to adults all over Israel. And tomorrow and the day after, you're going to look like this with your own portraits. So I've been very lucky to tour Israel and go to different places, from the settlements. This is in Efrat a couple of weeks ago, to the Negev. This is a school for Bedouin children called the Stars of the Desert, Kochvei Midbar. So those are all Bedouin teachers that teach young, smart, very smart Bedouins. If we touch a little bit of actuality, so humor, play, art allow us to deal with hardships. I was very fortunate to be invited to Kiev twice in the past 2 years, and have worked in hospitals throughout Kiev. This is a hospital that was children in a hospital that was bombarded last week. And those are the nurses that created self-portrait in that same hospital. So this is the city hall of Zhytomyr, another city that has been bombarded. So the power of art is that it helps us to look at things, look at the world around us in a fresh way. And this is very important when we live with prejudices, when we have a prejudice towards the other people. And over the years in Israel, I was invited to many places and spaces of coexistence. This is the bilingual school in Jerusalem, Jewish-Arab school. So you see children with their parents, Jews and Arabs, working together. And this is something that I've learned over the years, the power of playing together, not just Jews and Arabs, but parents and children, that they create together portraits. Those are teenagers, groups of 4, 2 Jewish kids, 2 Arab kids, that created together the future community as they see it. And after they created together, they shared their vision. For example, those kids created a soccer field. If you know, the soccer team of Israel is one of the few and greatest places of coexistence that exist in Israel. Half of the players are Arabs, and they play together. And this piece is called The Innocence of Freedom. And this one is in English also, Open Yourself. So the objects, and the more I give this workshop, and I'm not going to give the whole lecture of the workshop, but I invite you very much to come together, to come tomorrow and the day after tomorrow and join us in the workshop. The objects really invite us to pay attention. And the more we pay attention to what's around us, the more we pay attention to who is around us, and the more we pay attention within us, within ourselves. And this is what allows us really to think for ourselves. So paying attention brings ideas. For example, in my case, if I see my first Sony, this was the first Sony of my daughter, so I say, what does it want to be? How I can help it become what it wants to be? I thought that this first Sony wanted to be Richard Nixon, who liked to tape people. So I'm just helping it become what it wants to be. And actually, a box of matches like this gave me the idea to start creating pictures this way. There is plenty of evidence that as a little boy in Uruguay, South America, I drew with crayons, with pencils, just like every other kid. But as I grew more, and I was here in New York over 30 years ago, one day, thanks to a box of matches, I started to create pictures using objects and slowly realized that this was my language. I discovered, and I tell you more about it tomorrow, how I could arrive to my own language. But in order to arrive to it, I needed to go through a long process of trial and error. And again, a space of creativity, a space of art, a space of play is a space that allows for that process of trial and error. Over the years, I started to create books for children, and this is my last book about Israeli prime ministers. And I want to share with you, and I think you are the first Jewish community here in America that will see this book, is the book that will come out next year, and it's called Dream Big, Laugh Often, and More Great Advice from the Bible. And we will talk about this book more in depth tomorrow. But my way of connecting to the Bible was thinking, what is it in these stories that I would like to tell my children about? What is it? What advice would those heroes, those characters tell us? So for example, what could we learn from Eve? From Eve, we could learn to be curious. What could we learn from Noah? Just to be good, and etc., etc. Abraham teaches us to trust the journey, to go on the road and trust that we will arrive. And from Sarah, we learn that sometimes there are no words and we can just laugh, etc., etc. I'm not going to go through all this, but I'm sure you recognize those heroes. Jonah is a good one. He teaches us to take a timeout. Sometimes we take a timeout. We might change our mind after it wonders what 3 days inside the belly of a fish can do to you. And I love Elijah. Eliyahu Navi teaches us to find the quiet, to trust the quiet, not necessarily the big splashy fires and thunder, but the cold mamadaka, the thin whisper. So back to Esther, and I guess it's not a surprise that the ethos of the Jewish people starts with a long journey. I think any process of growth, any process of creativity, any process of invention is a long one, full of ups and downs. And if there is something that I learned after 30 years of creating, and I think you will experience it tomorrow when we create collages together, is to trust the process. We never know where the process is going to go, but if we trust the process, something will happen. And if we pay attention and we are there, we will notice it and use it to create something new. So I think I will stop here and I will continue more tomorrow. So thank you again for inviting me here. And I hope many of you will come to play with me tomorrow and talk about what you are made of. Thank you.
To be continued.
To be continued, definitely.
I'm going to call up a few folks. Hold on, we'll talk. All right, I need to call up several people. First, need to call Berman Waldorf back up, Camille Bloomberg, Todd Wachtel, Robin Resnick, Dara Lipper, Lucy Simon, and Ronnie Staffenberg. It is the dream team. And this is for you, my dear. We're going to do this. And wait for it. Wherever you stand, I'm putting these down. Let's do that.
No, just me. It's like a well. Okay, it is my honor to share words with you from our president, Rhonda Wadra, who can't be with us tonight. Yeah. My apologies for not being able to attend the Shabbat in person. I look forward to being at the synagogue tomorrow as we continue to celebrate Anne. And I want to express my gratitude to Hanuk for joining us this weekend. We are truly so fortunate to have Anne serving as our Director of Lifelong Education. I can't even begin to think of how many lives she has touched. I personally have learned so much from her. She has strengthened my connection to Judaism and my children's faith. Years after they were confirmed, I have one child who spends her time brushing up on Hebrew thanks to Duolingo, and the other child kept taking courses on Judaism in college and remains fascinated by Jewish history and, as a side note, Jewish jokes. Anne lit a spark in my children, as she has for so many others, and for adults as well. If you spend 5 minutes with Anne, you will walk away with knowledge. Anne's work, her dedication, her passion, it's all very special to see and to be part of. But Anne's impact goes far beyond our classrooms. She is loved by our congregants. She is always there to lend an ear, to offer advice, to make them feel better. Her background in social work has made her a critical pastoral caregiver in our congregation. She is the whole package. As a lay leader, I've enjoyed partnering with Anne, and I know she is always thinking about ways to make our congregation stronger. Her wicked smart brain continuously comes up with ideas to improve Beth Chaim, and then she leads with her heart. Anne is kind and compassionate, two traits we need to see a lot more of in this world. How blessed we are that she has called Beth Chaim home for so long. Please join me in letting Anne know how wonderful she is and how grateful we are for all she does. Mazel tov, Anne, for your more than 20 years of service at Beth Chaim. Feel free to stick around for another 20 years or more. I hope you enjoy the weekend in your honor.
So we thank our temple president, Rhonda Wadra, in absentia, and now we'll hear from our vice president of Chinuch, which sounds a lot like Hanuk, but anyway, our vice president of education, Todd Wachtel.
Good evening. My name is Todd Wachtel. I am the current Vice President of Education, and I've been asked tonight to speak about my partner, Ann Berman Waldorf. Now, Ann asked me, is this going to be a roast? But Rabbi actually wrote and said, I only have 2 minutes. And I've also been tasked in giving you Ann's resume in 2 minutes. So this may be the one time that you get to look at your watch or check your phone, because this is Ann's resume in 2 minutes. ABW graduated with a Bachelor of Arts from the University of Pennsylvania in 1987 with a degree in religious thought. In 2015, she picked up her master's in arts in religious education. She is a lifelong learner and has multiple other graduate degrees in Jewish history and social work. I only have 2 minutes. There's a lot of degrees. I gave you the important ones. From 96 to 98, she was director of the project Mishpaka in some weird place called Baltimore. She started first working at Beth Chaim in 1998 as our director of lifelong education. In 2016, she was awarded the title of Reform Jewish Educator, which is an honor signifying the academic and professional standards of excellence as an educational leader. The title granted commission included many, many people, and they were really, really important. I don't have time to go through them all, but they sounded really important. In 2018, she was chosen as one of the inaugural cohorts of Bubby's Kitchen. In 2019, she was one of the initial groups of the Hartman Created Equal Project, which discussed gaps in equity. In 2020 to 21, she was a participant in the Upstart National Change Accelerator. That was in the bulletin. I'm sure you read all about it. Again, I only have 2 minutes. In 2021, she was named a Parties Fellow. She was named a member of the Association of Reform Educators since 1997, and she was the group's president from 2017 to 2019. How am I doing on time? All right, she is a published author. Ask her, she has the teaching guides in her office. She has been on the URJ camp faculty at Camp Harlem, Camp Cuts, 6 Points Creative Academy. She is well known nationally as one of the premier Jewish educators in America. That wasn't on your resume, you should add it. She has spoken at NIFTY, CCAR, URJ, and other places that have acronyms that are way too long to spell out. That is my 2 minutes. The bottom line is that Ann is one of the few people in this world that is unroastable. I have been lucky to work with Ann over the last 2 years, and her energy and enthusiasm is contagious. Congregation Beth Chaim is in the business of building better Jews, and Ann is the engine that makes the whole machine go. The impact that she's had on my children's lives has been profound and long-lasting, and my story is just one of thousands. Thank you, Ann, for making Vice President of Education the easiest job on the board. Here's to another 20 years, but if I'm doing this again in 20 years, I'm totally roasting you.
So we go from Ann's lay partner in crime to 2 of her staff partners in crime, Robin Resnick, who helps run our preschool, and Dara Lipper, Ann's right hand and often her left as well.
She's gonna make me cry. And I'm not good at speaking in public, but I will do it for Ann because I love her.
Just get a little close to the table so everyone can hear you.
Robin
never speaks in
I
public.
don't, but I just have to tell you how amazing you are and how much it has been a pleasure to work with you all these years and how you have taught me so much. And I just, but the children and the teachers made you something as well that we would like for you to have.
Show us what it is.
Yeah.
Show us what it is.
So excited.
Those are fingerprints from all the children and the teachers.
And it says, it takes a big heart to shape great minds.
And it does.
And earlier today, Ann received a charm bracelet that has a charm from every class in our school. So we have a dragonfly for the dragonfly class, a butterfly for the butterfly class, and so on.
Yes, and I must admit, when Robin and the teachers presented, I started crying and the kids got really nervous. And they all came running up and were hugging. It was just
beautiful.
It was so sweet and compassionate.
It was one of those moments that you just want to bottle and keep forever.
You can go back down.
Oh,
Go back
okay.
down.
Thank you.
You're also welcome to go back if you'd like. And now we get to hear from a young person, one of the many whose lives have been touched by Anne. Lucy Simon.
Reading from her phone, it's a generational thing. Like a Jew, I was late to starting this speech, so it's in bullet points on my phone. But, so I've been at Beth Chaim since Bagels and Lox, and I think I did kindergarten twice, so I'm not gonna count that because I can't really do math, but it's been a while, probably like 13, 14 years. And the first things I just kind of want to highlight about like why it's been so meaningful to learn from Anne for all of these years is one, she's a woman in a position of leadership who has been an amazing role model and mentor for me since I've been here. And also, you probably heard this, especially since she got a tree of fingerprints on it, but she cares about her students and her fellow members of her congregation a lot, especially like her students. I remember I would go to her office and just like talk to her for a bit in between, like when I was getting water from Hebrew school, like a lot of that. But like she's always there to talk to you. And like the last week we went to Small World and we talked for an hour. The only reason we stopped talking is because my meter ran out. And also, through her listening ear and her passion for her community, which really shows, like in the entire, just look around Beth Chaim and you see Anne's footprint and her just mark on this congregation and the world everywhere. And it's been such an honor to be here and to have learned from her. And I would not be the thinker I am. I would not be the person who likes to question everything. I would not be, I think, the Jew I am or the person I am without learning from you for the past while. And I ran through this really quickly. But I think, it's been an amazing experience being able to learn from you here. So I hope to learn from you again in college and call you up or something. Yeah.
And now Camille Bloomberg as herself, joined by Ronnie Staffenberg, the two powerhouses behind our 50th anniversary celebration this Jubilee year.
Thank you. I have one more, not me, but one more honor from somebody else first and then me. The Association of Reformed Jewish Educators wrote Anne a wonderful letter. Dear Anne, as Beth Chaim celebrates you and your distinguished career, ARJE is thrilled to offer you words of congratulations and warm wishes for a meaningful celebration. As an educator, as an educational leader, you model commitment to learning and growth. Throughout your tenure, you have aspired to excellence, focused on learners, developed deep relationships with colleagues and coworkers, and served as a model for Jewish educators nationwide. We celebrate your lifelong commitment to the field of Jewish education, whether at URJ Camp Harlem or Creative Arts Academy. As a leader in the ARJE and in the HUC School of Education, and as a New Jersey Jewish professional, you make a mark wherever you go. Your clear commitment to mission and vision, your ability to navigate complex situations, and your calm and steadfast style have truly changes every space you inhabit. In the book of Proverbs, we read, it's Hebrew. Got nothing.
It's just fuzzy. Kiner mitzvah v'torah or.
The mitzvah is a lamp, Torah a light. And as a teacher of Torah, you have shown us all how the mitzvah can be a lamp, helping us to see the world as it is and as it can be. In you, we see how Torah functions as a light. In
Sifrei Bamidbar, a book of Midrash.
41, we read that when we ask for God's blessing, it is this light, the light of learning, the light of leading, the light of Torah, that we ask to shine upon us. As you celebrate, may the blessing of light and Torah be with you. Mazel tov on your 20+ years of service. Rabbi Stacy Rigler, RJE, ARJE Executive Director, and Marissa Kaiser, RJE, ARJE President. So this is for you, and Ronnie starts this. Now it's me
my
for real.
Enough about you for a second.
Totally okay with that.
I don't have any notes. I'm going to say that I'm going to pat myself on the back because I've been here so long that I was on the search committee that found you. So kudos for us. But I don't remember who else was on the committee, but I'm taking a little credit for this. She came with Lily in a baby sling. It was all wonderful. Anyway, it's hard to come after this. I've enjoyed working with you. I taught here for many, many years. It was a pleasure to know you as a friend, as one of your staff, and certainly now as we work together in this congregation to just make our lives better.
Okay. It is my pleasure and honor to present Anne with a token from us for the years of service she has given to Beth Hayim. She's not only an educator here, she is a friend, she's a colleague, she is a leader, and she is one of the best people in the world that I know. If you need something, Anne is always there saying, sure, what do you need? When? Let me know. And in her own way, let me know, but let me do it my way. And that's and
there's nothing wrong with that.
no, it's all good. And we have been honored and blessed for 20 plus years of her service here at Beth Hayim. My kids, your kids, kids in the future to come have been blessed to have Anne as their leader, their educator, and their teacher, and mostly their friend. You know, in the world where you can be anything, be kind, I think she's mastered that very well. It is our honor to present you with this. Okay. From Hanuk himself to you. It is her all the way.
The hair is
Josh
yours.
and his children gave us words of, you know, word cloud. Who is Anne? And we sent it to Hanuk with pictures, and he brought this to you, and he got you.
Hold it up one more time. Mirror zooming in.
Oh.
I can't tell which one is her.
Congratulations.
Oh. We're too multi now. Let's do multi now. Going off script. See, I can be flexible.
We're going off script.
We're going off script. We're going off script.
We never go off script.
We're good.
A prayer we often share on Shabbat while we're in community, a chance to say to each other all of the things for which we are grateful. Modim anachnu lach. We want to give a resounding expression of gratitude for our friend, our teacher, our educator, Anne.
Modim anachnu lach, modim anachnu modim anachnu lach, modim anachnu lach, modim anachnu modim anachnu lach.
And now we return to our slides for our song of congratulations, and we'll pretend to throw candy at her.
Simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov. Yeh lanu, yeh lanu, yeh lanu, lechol Yisrael. Yeh lanu, yeh lanu, lechol Yisrael. Yeh lanu, yeh lanu. Ulechol Yisrael, yeh lanu, ulechol Yisrael.
I'm never at a loss for words, and I am.
You can go sit with your
I'm gonna
family.
go sit with my family.
Although I have a sneaky suspicion you're coming right back up, because if I've done the math right, you and Josh came in the 90s to Beth Chaim. So get your bearings, and we'll see you in another minute. The 1990s was another eventful decade in our world. This decade witnessed a rise in the awareness of multiculturalism, as well as the advance of alternative media. This decade saw extreme advances in technology with the World Wide Web, the first gene therapy trial, cloning, and the first designer babies all emerging and being improved upon throughout the 90s. Popular culture that abounded included TV shows like Seinfeld and Star Trek, The Next Generation, as well as Super Nintendo and VHS tapes. Toy Story was released as the first full-length CGI movie, and Titanic emerged as what would become the highest grossing film of all time. This decade was full of music by teen pop groups like the Spice Girls and the Backstreet Boys, as well as grunge rock bands and gangsta rap artists. And yet again, it was another period of growth for Congregation Beth Chaim. So if you joined our community in the 1990s, I invite you to come up on the bima. Or if you'd prefer for COVID reasons to stay at your seat, that's fine too, but come on up. It's a non-speaking part, I promise. We're going to invite everyone to stand in front of the ark for a special prayer. Stand over here. Okay, there we go. Ivdu et Adonai b'simcha bo'u lefanav birnana. The psalmist taught us to serve God with joy, to come into God's presence with gladness. Our God and God of our ancestors, in celebration, we come together this evening to offer praises to you, our rock and our redeemer. Your steadfast love supports all generations. You give us strength and endow us with a willingness and determination to continue the work which we began 50 years before. With your guidance, our founding leadership placed their faith in you, laboring to make your name sacred, that we might come together at this time, our congregation's golden anniversary. Those founders' efforts were not in vain. Through their prayers and their example, we have been brought near to you, Adonai, to seek you with our total being. And I'll invite everyone in the pews to read with me. May the recollections of the past 50 years of those who have led before us stir us to meet our duties with renewed vigor, confirm us in our hope, and strengthen the devotion of those whose passion may have faded. As a united people, may we preserve our heritage so that it may bring us joy and strengthen future generations. We ask your blessing, Adonai, for this congregation and its members over 5 decades. May Beth Chaim continue to grow and flourish, that through it, reverence for you be implanted in the hearts of all. May we learn to share our work and prayers with those of other communities, and may our sharing with others strengthen our own vision. Through our word, as much as through our action, may we serve you and sanctify your holy name. Amen. Thank you all. We're going to now turn to Elena. So don't go, but I will need some folks to help me open the ark. As I invite our congregation to please rise, we continue back in our prayer book on page 282 or on the screen. All right, who's going to help me? Brave souls to open the ark.
עלינו לשבת מדון הכל, לצאת גדולה לארץ בראשית, שהוא נותן שמיים ויוצא ארץ, ומשה מקרוב השמיים עמם, ושכינתו זו בגבי אלוהים, ואלוהינו אינו, ואנחנו קוראים ומצטרפים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, היום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Thank you all. Thank you all so very much. You're welcome to be seated. As we turn to Mourner's Kaddish, our prayer for mourning those who have gone before us, the shoulders on whom many of us stand. And in the honor of the yard site of Renee Sachs, we'll hear a special reading from her children, Anne and Josh, who are zooming in from New York City.
It is a fearful thing to love what death can touch. A fearful thing to love, hope, dream, to be and oh to lose. A thing for fools this, and a holy thing to love.
For your life is lived in me, your laugh once lifted me, your word was gift to me. To remember this brings painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing to love what death has touched.
Thank you so much for that tribute in your mother's memory. We'll now share the names of members of our community or their loved ones whom we are remembering this Shabbat. If your loved one's name is read, I invite you to please rise at your seat, or you can use the raise hand function on Zoom. Two who were taken from us this week, Daniel Oration, friend of the Kemper and Blum families, as well as Joseph Rennick's father of Chris Circus. One whose loved ones are in the period of Shiva, the first 7 days of mourning, Jack Shermer, father of Allison Lockman. Two whose loved ones are in the period of Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning. We remember Susan Brandner, mother of Andy Patz and Jackie Kenton, Philip London, brother of Ricky Bobeck. And we remember the following yard sites, the anniversary of the passing of these loved ones. Renee Sachs, Gertrude Baskin, Albert Lichtman, Linda and Stanley Trott, Nathan Soffen, Harry Greenberg, Mildred Kelsey, William Geller, Mark Letterman, Phyllis Fiegel, Sylvia Eisenberg, Anthony Cooper, Ilanka Gotti, Harvey Gleeksman, Faye Gold, Lawrence Gordon, Carol Gross, Ruth Sacken Coleman, Eleanor Lowe, Riva Messeloff Greenberg, Michael Jasper, Ida Karyevsky, Estelle White, Elliot Sladowski, Hyman Leibowitz, Lillian Lightman, Rose Orbach, Vincent Pucciati, Paula Richter, Gussie Rothman, Jack Kazis, Isidore Schaefer, Lawrence Zegas, Francine Ellen Sheffield, Fred David Schur, Philip Foner, Morris Hutter, Seymour Berman, Annie Cohen, Keith Roth, Claire Kivelson, Richard Rosenthal, Marie Mackler, Theodore Emin, and Sydney Gallons, as well as those among our members from the 90s who are no longer with us, but whose memory we honor tonight and always. And I invite everyone else who is able to please rise as we recite the words of Mourner's Kaddish together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon, Uchaye Dekol Beit Israel, Ba'agala Ubizman Kari Vimru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mivarach Le'alam Ulamei Amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei dekudashah b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechemata da amiran v'yama v'imru amen Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen Oseh shalom b'mramav Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Zichrona livracha, may their memory always be a blessing. I invite you to return to your seats as we call up Todd Wachtel for a few less funny announcements.
Oh, you're coming all the way up.
Been up here like 2 years.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Blum and Cantor Binder, our artist in residence, Hannah Piven, and Mazel Tov to those who've joined us in the 1990s for tonight's honoree, ABW, and Berman Waldorf. We hope you found this experience to be fun, uplifting, and meaningful. Thank you, Mira Brusovsky and Cheryl Wexler, for your assistance as tech experts tonight. Stay on the script, right? I am Todd Wachtel, Vice President of Education. Camille and I are happy to speak with you and answer any questions you may have or listen to any comments about the synagogue after the service. Please stay for our Onik Shabbat in the social hall. It's a fun, creative weekend at Congregation Beth Chaim. Torah study is held every Shabbat morning at 8:45 in person and on Zoom. This week's class will be led by Hannah Piven, featuring his upcoming book on biblical characters. There is a Bar Mitzvah family class tomorrow at 9 a.m. Then at 10:30 a.m., Hannah will help us unleash our creativity in a congregational workshop called Crafting Our Jewish Identities, to be followed by Kiddush lunch. If you plan on attending the workshop, feel free to bring a variety of objects to incorporate into your art. Religious school will meet on Sunday and in person at 9 a.m. for a very special program honoring Anne and featuring Hannah. Both students and families are invited to attend. Men's Club will be having their monthly breakfast meeting at 10:30 on Sunday. At 2 p.m. on Sunday afternoon, the Sisterhood will be holding a virtual book club on literature in your living room. It is not too late to send your kudos to Anne. Get your messages before our kudo board goes to press by visiting our website or calling the office. Our Purim festivities begin Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Come for a Star Trek themed Spiel and Megillah reading. We are an active, inclusive, and diverse congregation. Please check our website, bethchaim.org, and to see a listing of our many classes, meetings, and activities throughout the week. Shabbat Shalom, stay safe, and stay warm.
Thanks, Todd. If you are younger than 18, I invite you to come to the Bima for something yummy. Oh, I thought we had more. We'll just share. That's okay. We're limited here. Don't worry, there's more in Onig. There's other under 18 if you want challah. That's okay if you don't want challah. But I know my cousin Hunter would love that. All right, they're coming. They're coming. So Redlet, just forgive me if you don't mind sharing a roll. I thought we had slices last week. All right, you gonna help me with the motzi, Hunter? Hang out with the big kids? That's okay. It's okay. He needs a chaperone. All right, come on, come closer. Come closer. Ready? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Your brother. Right, enjoy. Yes, brand new. All right, and we have our closer tonight. The words are familiar, and the tune might be too. I don't know yet, but we haven't often heard them together.
מלאך, טרם כה יציר נברא, לעת נשא בחפצו, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. ואחרי ככלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא הווה, ותפארה. הוא אחד בין שני, המשילו להכבירה, בלי ראשית, בלי תחתית, ולא העוז והמשרה. הוא אלי וחי גואלי, וסוחר לי בעת צרה, הוא ניסי ומנוסי, חוסי ביום אקרא. בידו אף תדרוכי, מי עכשיו העירה, ואמרו כי בידי, אדון אני ולא ידע, אדון עולם, אדון עולם אשר מלך, בטרם כה יציר נברא, לעת נשא בחפצו, אזי מלך שמו נקרא.
Give it up for Karen Viner. Another fantastic menu of 90s themed liturgy for tonight. We don't need the slides anymore, so we're A-okay. And we're going to close with a closing benediction. Let's have everyone who's able to please rise. And if you feel so moved to cuddle with the person next to you, great. It's okay if you're not ready to touch. But there's a lot of love in this room tonight, and I invite you to tap into that energy.
יברכך אדוני וישמרך.
May God bless us and protect us.
יאר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונך.
May God's light shine upon us, and may God be gracious to us.
יישא אדוני פניו אליך וישם לך שלום.
May we always feel that God's presence is near, and may we be blessed with the greatest gift of all, the gift of peace.
Amen.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, Neil.
Now I know.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, George.
Yeah.
Take care, buddy.
Yeah, oh, of course, you read my mind. I was gonna grab it. We are often on the same page. Okay.
Good night, everybody.